Welcome to the Deep Dive, your express lane to becoming incredibly well-informed. We do the digging so you don't have to. We sift through the stacks, pull out the key facts, and basically hand you the insights you need. Today we're tackling something lots of folks only think about, well, maybe when it's too late. Renter's insurance. If you rent your home, this deep dive is definitely for you. And hey, right off the bat, a really useful resource to keep in mind is Quote.com. It's genuinely your go-to place for comparing different insurance options, getting quotes tailored just for you, and finding coverage that actually fits your specific situation and, importantly, your budget. Check them out at Quote.com.
That's exactly right. Our mission today is pretty clear. We want to demystify renter's insurance. We'll unpack why it's not just, a good idea, but often really essential. We'll look at the top providers and equip you with the knowledge to find the absolute best coverage for you. It's about more than just a piece of paper. It's about real peace of mind.
Okay, let's unpack that then. A lot of renters, and it makes sense, think, look, I don't own the building, so why do I need my own insurance? That seems like a common assumption, right? What's the fundamental reason renter's insurance is so critical? Maybe beyond just, the landlord saying you need it.
Yeah, that's a great starting point. What's really interesting is that the core purpose addresses this huge blind spot many renters have. See, your landlord's insurance. It covers the building itself, the structure, the walls, the roof. Makes sense. But here's the key thing. It absolutely, positively does not cover your personal belongings.
Okay. So not my couch, my TV, my clothes.
Exactly. Think about it. Your furniture, that may be expensive new TV, your laptop, your entire wardrobe, everything. If there's a fire or a break-in or maybe some unexpected water damage from a burst pipe, those items could be gone. And without renter's insurance, you're facing the cost of replacing every single thing out of your own pocket. What's maybe the most common thing people find they can't afford to replace after something happens? They totally underestimate its collective value.
That's a really good question. I guess it's not always one big ticket item, but like the sum of all the smaller things, maybe electronics or even clothes. You don't realize how much you actually have until it's gone.
Precisely. It's often that cumulative value. Your entire closet full of clothes, all the kitchen stuff, books, personal items, it adds up way faster and to a much higher number than most people think, but it goes beyond just your stuff. Another critical piece, often overlooked, is liability protection.
Liability. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
So let's say a friend is visiting and they slip and get injured in your rental apartment, or maybe you accidentally cause some damage yourself, like a small kitchen fire that damages the unit. Your renter's insurance policy can step in there. It can cover legal expenses if they sue and their medical bills. The real insight isn't just that it covers it, but that this coverage acts as a shield for your entire financial future against a potentially bankrupting lawsuit.
That's a massive point. Accidents do happen, and the financial fallout could be just devastating without that kind of safety net. What else does it cover? What contributes to that peace of mind you mentioned?
Well, another big one connecting to the bigger picture is additional living expenses, often called ALE. Imagine your apartment becomes unlivable because of a covered event, like that fire we talked about. Where do you go? Right then.
Right, you need a hotel or something immediately?
Exactly. Renter's insurance can cover those temporary living costs, hotel stays, even meals out if you can't cook, laundry expenses while your place is being fixed up. It gives you real, tangible support during what's obviously an incredibly stressful time.
That sounds incredibly helpful. It takes some pressure off.
It really does. And, while we're talking about getting comprehensive protection, finding the right coverage means comparing your options, tailoring it, which brings us back to why we suggest checking out Quote.com. It's specifically designed to help you get quotes from different insurance companies, compare the rates and coverage side by side, and find a policy that truly fits your budget and your specific needs. It's just a really invaluable tool for making a smart choice.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. There are so many insurance companies out there. How do we possibly cut through all that noise and pick a renter's insurance company that's actually going to serve our needs well? It can feel pretty overwhelming, can't it?
Oh, it absolutely can. But the good news is our sources highlight 5 crucial factors that can really help clarify the choice. First up, you need to really dig into the coverage options. This means looking closely at what's covered for your personal belongings, what the liability limits are, and the details on those additional living expenses.
Okay.
And a really key distinction here is understanding replacement cost coverage versus actual cash value.
What's the difference there?
Good question. Replacement cost pays to replace your damaged items with brand new ones. Actual cash value pays what the items were worth at the time they were damaged, factoring in depreciation. The insight isn't just pick one, but think about your stuff. If most of your valuables are pretty new, replacement cost is usually the way to go. If things are older, actual catch value might mean a lower premium, but you'll get less money back if you have a claim.
Got it. So replacement cost sounds better generally, unless maybe cost is the absolute top priority.
Generally, yes. Also, be aware of limits on high-value things like jewelry, expensive electronics, or art. They might need extra coverage called an endorsement. Think of endorsements as like specific add-ons to your standard policy for particular high-value items or risks.
Okay, so it's not just about having coverage, but understanding what kind and if it really replaces what you lost, especially for pricier things. That's a critical detail.
Precisely. Second factor, customer service. This is huge. A deeper insight here isn't just that service matters, but maybe look for insurers who talk about resolving a high percentage of claims digitally, fast, or those that offer immediate human support via chat or phone.
Right, because when something happens, you don't want to be stuck in a phone tree.
Exactly. You want responsive, reliable help, ideally 24/7, and user-friendly ways to manage your policy and file claims, like good mobile apps or online portals.
Makes total sense, especially when you're stressed out after an incident. Getting quick, effective help is vital.
Third, let's talk pricing and discounts. Always compare quotes from different companies, but don't just look at the sticker price, the real insight. Consider the, let's call it, total cost of ownership, which includes potential hassle. A policy that's slightly cheaper might end up costing you more in time and stress if their claims process is a nightmare. Always factor in that peace of mind premium.
That's a good way to put it. The hassle factor.
Definitely. And actively explore common discounts. Bundling renters with your auto insurance is often a big one. Also, look for discounts for having protective devices like smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, or maybe a security system. Sometimes there are discounts for being a non-smoker, for loyalty if you stick with them, or even for paying your whole premium up front instead of monthly.
So it's like doing a little detective work, digging into all those possible savings and looking at the whole picture.
It really is. Fourth, closely examine the claims process. How easy is it? How efficient? Look for customer feedback online. How quickly and fairly do they seem to handle claims? Remember, a great policy on paper means nothing if getting paid is difficult.
True. A smooth claims process is probably worth paying a little extra for.
Often, yes. And finally, number 5, financial stability. You want an insurer who will be around to pay your claim. Research the company's financial strength. Independent rating agencies like AM Best provide ratings that give you insight into their reliability. Doing this homework prevents that feeling of being overwhelmed and helps ensure you pick a company that's solid.
Okay, those 5 factors, coverage, service, price discounts, claims, and stability, make it much more manageable.
Absolutely. And again, a really straightforward way to compare these factors across different providers, see your options, and find something that fits your priorities and budget is by visiting quote.com. You can get those personalized quotes, compare policies side by side, and see exactly what kind of protection you'd be getting. It streamlines the whole process.
All right, so we know what to look for. Now, what does all this mean for you, the listener, when it comes to specific companies? Let's talk about some of the top players in the renter's insurance game based on our sources. Who are the big names we should be looking at?
Okay, yeah, let's get into specifics. Our source material highlights 3 standout companies as sort of top picks. First, State Farm often comes up as a top overall choice. They're generally praised for offering personalized guidance, often through local agents, so you get tailored advice for your specific situation.
Right, that local agent connection can be a big plus for some people, someone you can actually talk to in person.
Exactly. They tend to offer immediate support and foster that community connection. Plus, their rates are generally competitive. They can start around, say, $22 a month, but obviously that varies.
Okay, State Farm for that personalized local touch. Who's next?
Next up is Geico. They're often highlighted as being best for having numerous discounts. They offer a really broad range of ways to save, which often makes them a very cost-effective option. They're known for affordable rates and just lots of different discount opportunities.
So if your main goal is to find every possible saving and get the lowest price, Geico might be a really strong contender.
That's the idea, yeah. If you enjoy maximizing those discounts, Geico tends to make that easier.
Gotcha. And the third one?
And then there's Progressive. They're often pointed to as being best for customizable coverage. They focus on adaptable insurance solutions, flexible policy options. They even have that feature, Name Your Price.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Right. It allows you to kind of adjust your coverage levels to try and hit a specific budget target. So it gives you flexibility flexibility to tailor the policy precisely to what you need and can afford.
That flexibility sounds great, especially if you have really specific needs or a tight budget and want to fine-tune everything. But the list doesn't just stop at those three, right?
No, definitely not. USIA consistently gets top marks for customer service. They're known for exceptional service, really efficient claims handling, and specialized support for military families. The catch, of course, is eligibility. You generally need a military connection.
Right. Important caveat there.
And then there's Chubb. They often get highlighted for best-in-class claims handling. Known for being prompt and providing high-quality processing, which, as we discussed, is incredibly valuable when you're dealing with the stress of a loss.
Okay, so really drives home that point. Different companies shine in different areas. Personalized service, discounts, customization, top-tier customer support, smooth claims. It depends on what you value most.
Exactly. And speaking of value and savings, the source material also points out some common discounts you might find across various providers. For instance, some companies might offer up to, say, 20% off if you've been claim-free as a renter, or maybe 15% for having security systems installed, though that varies by company.
15, 20%, those are significant savings.
They really can be. Even things like setting up autopay might save you up to 7%. All adds up. So the key takeaway is don't let the idea that insurance is automatically expensive hold you back from getting protected. The trick is finding a company and a policy that aligns with your priorities and your budget.
And a really efficient way to explore those options, see the potential discounts, and compare how these top providers stack up for your specific situation is, you guessed it, visiting quote.com. You can input your details, get those personalized quotes, and start comparing right away. It makes finding the right fit much easier.
Okay, we've talked about the top players, but let's get practical. How do we make absolutely sure we're getting the best possible deal and the right level of protection without, overpaying? What are the steps to really maximize the value we get from our renter's insurance?
Right, let's dive into the practical advice. It really starts with understanding how rates are influenced, particularly by your deductible. Your monthly premium can change quite a bit based on the deductible you choose. For example, with some companies, choosing a, say, $500 deductible might result in a premium around $19 a month. But if you increase that deductible to maybe $2,000, your monthly rate could drop down to something like $13.
Okay, so that's a direct trade-off. Pay less per month, but more out of pocket if you actually have a claim. The key insight here is to choose a deductible amount that you could realistically afford to pay today, right now, if something happened and you needed to file a claim. Don't pick a deductible you couldn't actually cover from savings.
That makes sense. An honest look at your emergency fund is crucial when setting that deductible.
Precisely. Next, it's about actively leveraging those discounts. We touched on them, but it's worth hammering home. Multi-policy savings bundling renters with your auto insurance is often one of the biggest discounts available. If you have a car, definitely ask about that.
That seems like low-hanging fruit for savings if you have both.
It usually is. And don't forget those discounts for protective devices. Smoke detectors, maybe a burglar alarm, even deadbolt locks can sometimes qualify. These are often easy wins.
Right, things you might already have or could easily add. What about the actual application process? Is it complicated?
Generally, no. The application process itself is pretty straightforward these days, especially online. You'll need your basic personal info, obviously your rental address. Importantly, an estimated value of all your personal belongings, and really try to be thorough here. Don't underestimate.
Yeah, maybe walk through your place with a notepad or phone and jot things down.
That's a great idea. And you'll likely need some basic details about the property itself, like maybe the type of construction or what security features it has.
Okay, seems manageable. What happens after you submit that info and start getting quotes back?
Right. Once you get those quotes, it's crucial to review them carefully. Don't just look at the price. Check the coverage limits for belongings, liability, and ALE. Double check the deductible listed. Understand exactly what you're getting for that price. This is also the time to think about those optional endorsements we mentioned earlier.
Those add-ons for specific things.
Exactly. Do you need extra coverage for expensive jewelry? Or maybe you live in an area prone to earthquakes or floods, which often aren't covered by standard policies. You might need an endorsement for that. The real insight is to think proactively about your unique risks. What specific vulnerabilities do you have?
So really customizing it beyond the basics if needed.
Precisely. And thinking long-term, for ongoing savings after you've bought the policy, you can potentially lower your premiums down the road by, again, increasing your deductible if your financial situation improves, and you can comfortably afford a higher out-of-pocket cost. And always keep an eye out for opportunities to bundle policies if your insurance needs change, like if you get a car later on.
So it's really about tailoring the policy to fit your life and budget, not just when you buy it, but potentially adjusting it over time too.
That's the key. It's about finding that sweet spot between adequate protection and affordable cost.
and making those comparisons, understanding those trade-offs, tailoring that coverage, that's all easier when you have the right tools. Which is why visiting Quote.com for all your insurance needs makes so much sense. Get quotes, compare rates side by side, find coverage that works for you based on your specific needs and budget. It really puts you in control.
Okay, wow, we have covered a lot of ground today. From the absolute essentials of why you even need renter's insurance to the nitty-gritty of picking a provider and getting the best value. It really does seem to boil down to your unique situation, what you prioritize, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And if we kind of zoom out to the big picture again, the best company, whether that ends up being State Farm for that local touch, or Geico for maximizing discounts, or Progressive for deep customization, it truly depends on what you value most in an insurer. Looking for bundled policies, especially auto and renters, is one of the most effective ways to get significant savings.
And platforms like Quote.com are fantastic because they bring providers together, making it super easy to compare them in one place. They offer user-friendly tools for side-by-side comparisons.
It makes the whole research process much less daunting.
Exactly. So I really encourage everyone listening, take the time to do that research, compare those options. It's the only way to ensure you find a policy that offers not just comprehensive protection, but also reliable support if and when you actually need it.
Ultimately, isn't that what it's all about? Being financially protected from those curveballs life throws at us. That translates directly into genuine peace of mind in your day-to-day life. Knowing your stuff is covered, knowing you're protected if someone gets hurt, knowing you'll have a roof over your head if disaster strikes. That feeling is invaluable. So please, don't let the fear of expensive premiums stop you from getting that essential peace of mind. Visit Quote.com for all your insurance needs, maybe even right now while it's fresh in your mind. You can get quotes, compare rates easily, and find coverage that works for your specific needs and your budget. It's straightforward, and it puts the power of informed choice right in your hands. And that pretty much wraps up this deep dive into decoding renter's insurance for your peace of mind. Our mission was to demystify it, break it down, and empower you to make really informed choices. I feel like we've definitely shed some light on it today.
I hope so too. And maybe just one final provocative thought to leave you with. Consider the true cost of not having renter's insurance. It's not just about the dollar value of replacing your possessions, though that's significant. It's also about the immense disruption to your life, the erosion of that feeling of security, and the huge financial burden of having to start over from scratch without support. So maybe ask yourself, what unseen parts of your daily routine, your future plans, your sense of stability does that seemingly simple peace of mind from renter's insurance actually protect?
That's a really powerful thought. It highlights just how much is riding on being prepared. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, for all your insurance needs to effortlessly get quotes, compare those rates, and find coverage that truly works for you, visit Quote.com. You really do owe it to yourself to be protected. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.